What really happens in the brain during a panic attack? Have you ever felt your heart race out of nowhere, as if you were in danger, but for no apparent reason? What if I told you that, in that moment, your brain is literally tricking you into believing that something terrible is about to happen when in fact, there is nothing there? That's a panic attack. And what happens in your brain during those seconds of pure terror is simply terrifying. First, it all starts with a false alarm. Your limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for emotions, goes on high alert. The brain identifies a danger even if that danger doesn't exist. The amygdala, a small structure in the center of the brain, fires up as if you were face to face with a predator. It sends signals to the body to release adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones. Your heart races. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your entire body goes into survival mode. But there's a bizarre detail. The prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, goes completely sidelined at this moment. In other words, you can't think straight. It doesn't matter how many times someone tells you calm down, it's nothing, because for your brain it's all or nothing. It's a matter of life or death. And this is where it all gets worse. The more you try to fight it, the more your brain panics. It's like you're stuck in an endless loop. And this is the scariest secret of panic attacks. They feed on fear itself. So, how do you get out of this brain trap? Science has an answer, and it might surprise you. Because the key to overcoming a panic attack is not in fighting it, but in doing exactly the opposite. If you want to understand how to interrupt this process and take control of your mind before panic takes over, keep watching. Because what I'm going to tell you now can change your life. The first thing you need to know is that panic can't really hurt you. Your brain makes it seem like it can, but this is just an illusion created by the chemistry of fear. So, how do you break this infernal cycle? The answer is in tricking your own brain. It sounds crazy, but it works. When a panic attack hits, instead of resisting or trying to suppress the symptoms, do the opposite. Accept that it's happening. This may seem scary at first, but here's the secret. Panic only grows when you fight it. Your brain works like an out-of-control fire. The more you feed the flame of fear, the more it grows. But when you stop adding fuel to the fire and simply observe what's happening, the fire starts to go out on its own. The most powerful technique for this? Conscious breathing. Not the quick, desperate breathing that happens during a crisis. I'm talking about something that literally reprograms your brain in real time. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4 more, and then release slowly through your mouth, counting to 6. This sends a signal to your brain that everything is okay, that there's no real danger. And here's the most amazing part. Within minutes, your body starts to respond to this command. Your heart rate slows down, your cortisol levels drop, and before you know it, the panic starts to fade. But there's one detail that almost no one talks about. What you do after a panic attack is just as important as what you do during it. Many people fall into the trap of avoiding situations that could trigger an attack, but this only reinforces the fear in the brain. What you need to do is teach your nervous system that you are safe, even after everything is over. And how do you do this? Small habits can transform the way your brain reacts to stress. Physical exercise, regular sleep, meditation techniques. All of this strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your mind, making you more resistant to panic in the future. And now comes the big question. What if the secret to ending panic attacks was in a simple mental exercise that science has already proven, but almost no one uses? But before revealing this powerful technique, there's something you need to understand. Your brain is an incredible machine, but it's also full of traps. And one of the worst of them is the anticipation effect. You know when you start to feel a slight discomfort in your chest, and before you even realize it, you're already convinced that you're having another attack? This happens because your brain learns patterns and responds accordingly. That is, if you have had a panic attack before, any small signal, a tightness in your chest, dizziness, even a negative thought, can trigger that whole fear mechanism again. And without realizing it, you are triggering the panic yourself. Now comes the most impressive detail. This means that you can also teach your brain to do the opposite. And here is the key: recognition and redirection. Every time you feel the panic attacks, when you first see signs of panic coming on, instead of panicking, stop and tell yourself, this is just my brain playing tricks on me. I already know how this works, and I know it will pass. This simple change in thinking can literally stop the escalation of panic before it becomes uncontrollable. But there is something even more powerful, and almost no one uses it to their advantage. I am talking about the controlled exposure technique. It works like this. Instead of avoiding situations that can trigger anxiety, you expose yourself to them gradually, teaching your brain that there is no real danger. For example, if you feel panic when going out alone, start by taking small steps. Go out for 5 minutes, then for 10, then for 15. Your brain will adapt, and over time, this situation that once seemed impossible will become normal. And here's the most incredible part. Neuroscience has already proven that this literally changes the structure of your brain. Each time you face fear in small doses, you strengthen the neural connections in the prefrontal cortex, becoming increasingly resistant to panic.